Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily for November 24th, 2025. I'm Dave DuFour here with Baraheni and Zena Keita. Coming up, the Nuggets and the Rockets gave us a classic on Friday. We want to get into that a little bit. We've got some teams streaking, including the Raptors, which 50 wins?
Yes.
And we're going to talk about what Klay had to say about Ja. Good morning, everybody. What's up, guys? How's it going?
What up? Happy
Pretty good weekend. NBA Cup. We're going to get to the Raptors in a few because they are the first team to move on to the knockout round. I know S is extremely excited.
Well, look, I appreciate all teams who respect the cup. You know,
that's right, and they clearly do. But before that, guys, I want to jump into this Nuggets-Rockets game from Friday night. I mean, this is again two of the best teams in the West. Like, we're hoping we're going to get a playoff series, between these two teams. Obviously, Oklahoma City right now, head and shoulders above everybody. But just a classic game. Like, this has been probably one of the best games of the season. We've talked a little bit about the quality here lately with the injuries and just kind of things feeling a little bit sluggish and sloggy. But man, this was a great game.
Yeah, I thought the especially like down the stretch, the clutch stuff from both of those teams, you could really see like what kind of offense both teams wanted to run. Mm-hmm. But obviously, I don't know how you guys feel, but in a clutch situation, there probably isn't a team that I trust more than the Denver Nuggets to execute, right? They have such a tried and true system. And I thought, you look at Jamal Murray and the plays that he made down the stretch. He blocked Kevin Durant on one end, goes and attacks the basket, finishes with a layup. I was looking this up during the weekend, but he's averaging a career high in points, rebounds, assists, and true shooting percentage. Yeah. Like it's a career start for Jamal, a guy who's never made the All-Star team. And I know we'll talk about their injuries in a couple minutes, but overall, this is a guy who can carry them more often. I think the depth that they have allows him to lean into that kind of like bench lineup stuff that he does. And he's been awesome. So he executed down the stretch, and I think the Nuggets overall just out-executed the Rockets.
Yeah, the Nuggets being able to snap that 5-game winning streak was pretty big. I thought it was cool to see Sheppard. I mean, we know this guy came in the league last year, and a lot of folks' expectations of him were a little dashed. There wasn't quite a space for him to fit amongst all these athletes. His shot wasn't the same that we had seen in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And now we're starting to see him starting to roll. There's been a few games recently coming into that one that I'm like, Stephen Sheppard? Reed, like being able to shoot behind screens, pulling up from deep. Yeah. I mean, the off-ball movement, getting into his shot, you saw that on display against a very good defensive effort from Denver. I mean, they've got the length, even with Christian Brown out. Of course, Aaron Gordon not finishing that game, but like Peyton Watson was chasing folks around. Jamal Murray was chasing him around, and he was still being able to find the spots overall. But it was a great effort, I think, from the Houston side. And I think this win for Denver, like, really does tell you, okay, we don't quite have the same depth that we need, but we're able to close it out. And as said, who else could you trust to be able to win a game like that without some of the most connective tissue players like Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown available to you?
It's so funny because the Kings ended up beating the Nuggets the day after Russell Westbrook revenge game. And honestly, Russ kind of out executed them in the fourth quarter. It was kind of like, it's just funny because we talk about the Rockets game and they out executed in the clutch. And then the day after it ends up being the complete opposite case.
Yeah, I mean, Jokic is human. We probably forget that sometimes, especially down the stretch of games, because he's going to get the basketball and he somehow still make something happen. I'm glad you brought up Sheppard. All right. I want to talk about him a little bit because, to your point, a lot of people coming into this year were just doubtful that this guy was going to really be an NBA player. And, this is like a number 3 pick in the draft. Like, this is not just, it's more of a James Wiseman type of situation. I would say like the public sentiment. Yeah. But he's really figured it out to start this year. And especially the last 8 games, all double-digit scoring games. Last 8 games, he's playing 26 minutes a night, 16 and a half points a game, 3 assists, 2 steals, shooting 53% from 3 and 67.5% on 2s. He's turned himself into this incredibly efficient scorer, and the defense is coming along. So I mean, his role, I think we're going to see it increase as the season goes on. Like we've talked about how this team has needed a point guard. They've needed more guard depth. But we found out on Sunday that KD is going to miss a couple of games coming up due to some family stuff. And it got me thinking, hey, this is a huge opportunity for Reed Sheppard, who probably moves into the starting lineup. But, I mean, who knows what he's going to do with it?
Yeah, he's done such a good job of like taking advantage of the advantages that KD and Şengün can create. So attacking closeouts, being this weapon as a catch and shoot threat. And look, the Rockets are at the bottom of the league when it comes to 3-point attempts. Like the reason they are or were the number one offense for such a long time to start the season was the fact that they are a battering ram on the offensive glass. KD and Şengün can execute, but now they have this weapon who, you know, you mentioned the 53% from three. I think that's the main number here with Reed. It's like that opens up everything else for him. He can now attack closeouts, get into his floater bag, finish around the basket. He can make plays out of that area too. So overall, the fact that his shot is falling, it's opening up so many more opportunities for him. And I agree with you. Like he probably should start. And the better he is, I think it opens up more opportunities for him to expand his role on this team, be a starting point guard for them in the future, right?
Yeah, as you're hitting it right, like it's that number 53%, but it's also how he's getting those shots as well. When you look at Houston, there's a lot of one-on-one. I'm not saying that it's a lot of ISO necessarily, but how they get their shots is going up against a defender as opposed to a lot of movement shooting. And that's what Reed brings. He gives a different vibe to the Houston Rockets for the fact that he can catch and shoot. He can be off ball. He can be running screens. I personally would love to see him move into the starting lineup and see what happens when he's setting picks for his wings and setting picks for Alperoon, like how much he might get forgotten about. Because we see him get forgotten about in transition, which he also scores well in, right? And just being able to get into that starting lineup and creating a different wrinkle to the way that they move typically, with Alperoon being the one that is the hub of their offense. What if it's Reed Sheppard screening for that hub and opening things out, you know, for the movement of the Houston offense overall?
Yeah, I do. I think him and Alperen Şengün have this nice little 2-man game where, you know, Reed's kind of playing hide and go seek around Şengün and getting himself open. And it's just like Steph. It's Steph and Draymond. And it's, you know, when the doubles start to come to Reed, because they will. I mean, that's the next step in this, right?
Move up the scouting report.
He's got the guys like Durant and Şengün to give it up to. So anyway, that'll be something to watch this week. Also, guys, we've got 3 teams streaking. We're only going to talk about one of them. The Pistons won their 12th straight over the weekend.
They've been awesome.
They are great.
Jaden Ivey came back too. That's a big deal for them.
That's huge.
That's right. Yeah. So they
the
got some depth back. The Thunder are a machine. They've won 9 straight. They're 17-1. They got their lick back on the Trailblazers, the one team that beat them. It was a bad one. But that
should count as 2 wins, by the way. The way they just beat them.
Up in Toronto, you guys, we got some stuff happening. Number one, they pick up the win on Friday, become the first team to move into the knockout rounds of the NBA Cup. So congratulations to the Raptors. But they also, look, they get the Washington Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets back-to-back. And not back-to-back nights. They had a day off in between. They're now up to 7 straight wins. Give me the numbers, because, look, this team is better than I thought they were going to be. I feel like they might be better than you thought they were going to be, especially right now, because this seems to have happened pretty fast. And, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, this team looks like it's going to be a home court playoff team. It's weird. It
is weird because, look, they started out the season 1-4, and I came on here and talked about how terrible they look defensively, and it's completely flipped. A lot of that, like we mentioned earlier, is Scotty Barnes playing all defense level basketball. But the surprising thing, I think, to all of us is the fact that on Saturday when I checked, the Raptors had the number 1 half court offense in the NBA. That is absurd. And it is amazing. And I think a lot of people, including a lot of fans who are listening to this, are like, how are they getting that done? One, they're very unselfish. They have a bunch of guys who can get to a bucket. So it's RJ Barrett who can score 20 on night, Brandon Ingram doing the same thing, Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, even Jakob Poeltl can do that. So they have a lot of options offensively. On top of that, a big credit to Darko Rajakovic, who's leaning into like, hey, 0.5 basketball. We're running a lot of things out of the like pinch post area to create for Ingram, to create for Scotty, working to create these mismatches for these guys and then work around them. You mentioned the 7-game win streak. Do you know when the last time the Raptors had a 7-game win streak was? I'll give it to you.
It's been over a decade, right?
A decade. February of 2022. It has been a very long time since they've won 7 in a row. On top of the fact that like they've now won 11 of their 12. Their offense looks better than even I expected, thinking this team was going to win 45 plus games. They're really figuring things out. Now we'll see, because they've also, as you guys know, have had a pretty easy schedule, right? Mm-hmm. Washington, Brooklyn. Taking care of business is part of becoming a good team. Mm-hmm. But once the schedule gets a little bit harder, now that's where the test is to see if they can really stick in the Eastern Conference where they are. But they built themselves a good cushion. Listen,
the Toronto Raptors, I mean, the writing was on the wall. They were just straight athletes last year. It was discombobulated, but it was just athleticism out on the floor. But now you're seeing them win the games using that athleticism, right? You're talking number 1 fast break points per game in the league. Mm-hmm. They're also number 1 in the amount of field goal percentage that they can get off of drives, just beating their defender, one-on-one getting to the basket. They're top 5 in points in the paint. Like, this is all remnants of the fact that they're just stupidly athletic. They run really fast. They can get to their spots. And they've got some good ball handlers. They're also top 5 in their passing. You talked about the assists, 30 assists per game. When you're athletic, you're benevolent, and you're willing to run, and you're playing good defense. Like, I can absolutely see the Raptors getting home court advantage.
I will just say, I did call the shout of like maybe Darko gets into Coach of the Year conversations.
Yes.
You did. Look, I mean, I told you if they were going to win the number of games you were saying,
then he had to
leap,
right?
Right. Yeah. The internal development. Zena, can I ask you, what if you were athletic and malevolent? Like what if they were evil? Like would that work better for basketball?
It might work better,
that
actually.
out.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks, maybe we should ask him. I don't know. Guys, stick around after the break. We're going to talk about the Clippers.
We're going to keep it going.
The Clippers are old. Guys, did you catch Cavs Clippers Sunday?
Some of it. I caught the back half of it.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell just was dancing on those guys.
Yeah.
The Cavs right now, look, they didn't have Jared Allen out there. They got Naquan Tomlin though, and they with Evan Mobley at the 5, Naquan Tomlin flying around out there. Yeah. Donovan Mitchell just literally tap dancing just to every single bucket he wanted. Guys, we're thinking about Chris Paul, and this is now going to be his final season. He announced over the weekend. 21st season in the NBA, and every single Clipper looks like they were right there the whole time with him. I mean, it was an awful display for a team that already, like, we know that they're old. They're the oldest team in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard came back. He looked just like Kawhi. But once again, guys, it's a matter of how long, like how many games can he give them? James Harden had an amazing performance the other night, the 55-point game. Amazing.
But they needed all of them to beat the Hornets.
Every single point. I don't know, guys. The Clippers have just gotten sad to me.
There's one play I watched in that game where Kawhi Leonard gets to the basket and he does that very like quintessential Kawhi Leonard 2-step, covers a lot of ground, kind of gazelle-like, goes up for the lay, and Evan Mobley comes out of nowhere and goes, "Get the F out of here." It was so disrespectful. Then he goes back down the other end and dunks. And it was just like a snapshot of just how old the Clippers looked in that moment. And you talk about, I mean, Donovan Mitchell was Euro stepping, wide stepping, like whatever dance move you want to talk about, all over them. But it was Naquan Tomlin that I've had my eye on him in several games. I've had my eye on him since, his name in the G League and the Summer League. Like, he is all arms. Like, it's just.
He really is. Yeah.
Just extendo arms all
He's
over
kind of like
court.
the what's it called, that little thing at garage sale?
Car sale.
Yeah. Naquan
Honestly,
Tomlin.
if you could put him in, the Cloverfield monster, like he's kind of like, because he is so long and he's so fast.
And he's got great energy.
Yes.
Great energy. He has such great effort. Now, he hit his first 3 in that game, and that's been probably the issue in his game, is just like he needs a little bit more finesse on the offensive end. But like, man, you want to talk about a boost, especially with this inconsistency with the roster that, the Cavs have had. You know that this guy is going to just inject energy into your defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's exactly what the Cavs need. Shout out Naquan Tomlin. Shout out all the guys that are taking advantage of their moments in the sun.
Of the injuries.
Totally. Was good too on Sunday. Like, the Cavs are figuring out, this is an experimental year for them. I've been comparing it to the year that Milwaukee won the title. Yeah. They've been good regular season team for a few years now. They've got to take this regular season and figure out what they have and what they can do. And, the injuries have thrown some curveballs at them, but man, they're finding guys, they're finding out some stuff. But for the Clippers, guys, I want to start with Chris Paul. Okay. This is going to be his last season. He did play on Sunday a little bit. And I thought the Cleveland crowd gave him a really nice ovation, and, class act, right?
Yeah.
Chris Paul, who was 13th on the Athletics top 25 of the quarter century, and the readers voted him 14th. So, I think we all kind of agree.
Yeah,
this is one of
the
best players to play in the last 25 years of the NBA. Was widely regarded. I mean, he's one of the best point guards.
I think he's like third or fourth, depending on how much you like Isaiah Thomas. I think that's the conversation you got to have.
Okay.
But
so
Magic and Steph.
I think it's Steph, and then it's Magic, and then it's Steve Nash.
Oh, okay.
And then it's Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm down. As my Canadian thing, I'm okay with rocking with Steve Nash ahead of Chris Paul. I have no issues with that.
Yeah,
I'm good.
So maybe the fourth best point guard of all time. It was debatable. I don't know, guys. Let us know. Let us know on YouTube. Let us know in the comments. But
you included Magic in there. I could.
Yes, Magic's number two.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing there, Dave, with Magic behind Steph.
He's behind Steph.
Okay, all right.
All time.
Oh, okay. I think
rookie finals MVP. No,
it's a closing chapter of a particular type of point guard play.
Yeah.
He really was the gold standard of how to run a team, how to organize a team, how to tell people to get into spots.
100%.
He was the maestro of the pick and roll, right? We know Lob City because of the things that Chris Paul was able to do with those high flying athletes. He controlled pace. He was a leader. Nowadays we've got point guards that are scorers first. And I think Chris Paul is one of those last players that are organizers first and then can also score. I love watching him play. I am a Demon Deacon. And so I always have a little bit of respect for that as well. But he was so reliable. He was always available, which is always important. Yeah. But you talk about just great basketball IQ, new angles, knew how to play the game within the game mentally too. He used to mess with guys mentally more than anything.
I think that's what people will remember a lot is like the Chris Paul shenanigans, of
being an annoyance.
Being an annoyance, like, hey, his jersey's untucked, you got to give him a warning, etc.
Guys in the junk.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people will remember that part, but to your point, Zena, like, go and watch his Hornets highlights. Go and watch when he was an MVP caliber player, when he was one of the fastest players on the court, operating in that mid-range area. He lifted a team with David West at its second best player and Tyson Chandler to a second seed in a really, really stacked Western Conference. Like, that's how good of a player Chris Paul was in his peak. And then he transitioned to that Clippers era where, I have a very good team around me. You could argue they're one of the bigger what if, that Clippers group, one of the bigger what ifs over the last 10 years of what could have happened if Blake stayed healthy, if those guys kept kind of like knocking on the door. So I know Chris Paul never won a championship, but I thought JJ Redick put it really well. There's some guys who never win championships and are complete winners, and there are guys who have won championships and know nothing about winning. Right. And Chris Paul is the first guy. So
12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive Team. Like, want to make sure we get those stats out there.
100%. Yeah.
One of the last small guards to impact the game in that way.
I think a lot about that series that New Orleans played against the Lakers, 2011 playoffs. And you talk about a guy like just trying to gut out wins. Remember, he had a knee issue that he was playing through. I mean, that was like a lot. Warrior basketball, right? Like the stuff that we think about, like with Tyrese Halliburton last year playing through the injury. And I mean, Chris Paul was just a gamer. And I mean, could have had his career cut short. Remember, this was a guy that we thought of as being like extremely injury prone, like the knee issues we thought
the hamstring with the Rockets, right? That was a thing for a long time too.
And injuries did like kind of color his career, especially like getting hurt in the playoffs. You know, feels like he's broken his hand. I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
But a lot of bad luck. But like we know, luck plays one of the bigger roles in every single player in their career, whether or not they win a championship. If you're on a team that's good enough, is everyone going to stay healthy? I mean, yeah, I don't know. But Chris Paul, fourth best point guard ever. I think that's,
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Not bad. Where do we put Ja Morant as far as point guards in the NBA? Where would you rank him right now?
Man, at one point he was like third or second. And now can you even get him 10th?
Yeah, bit of a drop off for Ja. I mean, he just doesn't play very much. And I thought that Klay Thompson's comments about Ja Morant from the incident in their game, the Mavericks and the Grizzlies the other night. Look, number one, Klay Thompson, objectively, not a bum. I'm sorry, Ja.
Absolutely not.
Four-time champion.
No.
I mean, this guy, and he missed 2 seasons in his prime. One of the greatest shooters ever. You just don't really get to call that guy a bum.
Mm-mm. And you also, statistically, you can't. He's played more games than Ja has played since he came back from his injury.
Yes.
You're not, no. I love there was a one quote, Worldwide Rob, that said that this argument between Ja Morant and Klay Thompson is the perfect Gen Z millennial battle. Gen Z calling out people that are working, they're trying to work, putting in the time, etc., while not working, calling them out for quote unquote being a bum. Meanwhile, millennials putting in the work, even past the time and past the ability, maybe you could say for Klay Thompson in terms of the injuries that he's had, but still producing. They get 20-something points tonight that Ja was calling him a bum. I mean, it's such a silly conversation that Ja would even have that. Now, I do know it goes deeper than what we saw in this situation, right? Of course, it's the Rockets.
Yeah, they've had a beef for a long time.
They've had a beef for a very long time. So we're seeing some things unravel that had a little bit more depth to it. But come on, Ja. Come on.
I want to say,
4 rings. Come on.
The way that Klay did this, okay, now this is masterful. Klay really thought about this when he said, I want to quote him. We all want to see him out there and do his best, but he's just been letting a lot of other stuff get in the way. We need that in the NBA. We need our best players to be out there. When you're a star, it comes with a great responsibility. Dropped a Spider-Man quote on him. You hate to see that go to waste. Bless his heart. Man. Klay really, this is again, Klay is the best, right? One of the nicer guys that you hear about in the NBA. And man, this is killing him with kindness here, guys.
Man, it's just what is there left to be redeeming from the Ja Morant side? The injuries don't let him get on the court. The off the court stuff has limited his ability to get on the court as well. He clearly over the last couple of years has struggled to be the same player he once was, right? 2021, Ja, 2022. How do you move forward from this? Because I don't know. I think Klay was 100% right. What is the next step for Ja? Right.
Right.
And that's why it hit so hard.
Yeah.
Because everything that Klay said he wasn't coming at him personally. He wasn't calling him a bum in that way. He was saying, we expect more of you, bro. It makes me think of America's Next Top Model. When Tyra Banks was looking at that model and said, we were all rooting for you. We were rooting. That's how I felt. That's listening to Klay.
That's funny.
Let me translate this.
That's exactly
that's a great reference.
Okay. It's like episode 3, Star Wars episode 3. Okay. When Obi-Wan says to Anakin, you were the chosen one.
You're the chosen one.
Yeah.
You were set to destroy the Sith, not join them. Sorry.
I don't know if we can get 2 comparisons to be as far away from each other, but that's why you listen to the NBA Daily. You don't get that anywhere else.
That's right.
All right. That's going to do it for the show, guys. Thank you to Zena Keita and Baraheni. I'm Dave DuFour. This has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.